Self-Love Lunch Break with me, Diana, your sacred self-love coach. Live every Tuesday and Thursday here on Facebook and YouTube. I will be coming to you for our little self-love lunch break. And if you saw the title of today's talk, you will know that I find it an interesting one. I say that self-love is not a spa day. So what do I mean by this? As usual, my titles have so much meaning. They're loaded. Self-love has become such a buzzword on social media, right? It's like everywhere you turn, there's self-love, self-love, self-love. But what is it really? This is my passion. So let's first go back to that spa day. So don't get me wrong, spa days, pamper sessions, massages, lunch with your besties, girls' weekends away, boys' weekends away, play dates, whatever. These are all fabulous, fabulous ways to take me time and to practice self-care. However, there is a difference between self-care and self-love. And these things that I've mentioned and anything like that in my world that I work with, the self-love that I work with, that's not self-love. That is self-care. And I really believe that self-care is a natural and beautiful result of self-love. Self-care can also be practiced when you're not connected to the self-love that I'm talking about. Absolutely, you can practice self-care. But just like anything in life, if you're not getting deep into the root of who you are, deep into the root of anything, any situation, any reality, you're scratching on the surface, and scratching on the surface doesn't bring lasting results. So you can be practicing self-care, you can be running off to spa days every week. You can be pumping self-care at yourself and still feeling like something's missing, still feeling like you're not fully connected, still wondering if you're good enough, if you're thin enough, if you're tall enough, if you're strong enough, if you're clever enough. It can leave you empty, it can leave you wondering, because self-care is beautiful, self-care is wonderful, but it's not self-love. In fact, what I say about self-love is that self-love, and you may or may not have heard me say this before, self-love is self-discipline. Self-love is about connecting with the observer self, with your sacred self, with your soul, whatever you want to call it, that aspect of you that controls everything, the aspect of you that has free will. That's where self-love comes into play. It comes into play with connecting with that part of you, growing and nourishing that part of you, so that you then are disciplined enough, and that's where the self-discipline comes in, to manage your body, your mind, and your emotions, so that all of those energy centers of your life serve you well and help you make the best out of this life that you're living. So what is self-love then? Let's get to it. Self-love is about, as I said, that true essence of who you are. It's also about being courageous enough to connect with your subconscious, to connect with and explore your shadow self, your higher self, to look at your scars, to really know, understand, and know how to use your emotions, to see the lessons in the experiences that you have in life. Sometimes to actually, because of the value of the lesson, to appreciate the pain of a certain situation, to appreciate the suffering that you might have endured because of the value of the lesson, the value of the growth that you got out of that. So it's about experiencing the downfalls. It's about embracing the lessons. It's about knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and being willing to embrace them, being willing to embrace all of you, the whole of you, and more than just body, mind, emotion. It's the you that is beyond that, the you that is deeper than all of that. So it requires journeying within. It's a very, very deep journey. It requires venturing into every crevice of your body, mind, and emotions. It requires getting to know the stuff that you might not want to know. I've spoken before on this channel and on Olga Gaydani's channel about shadow self and self-love and how important it is to get in touch with those elements of yourself that you might not want to know, because it's only through knowing something that we can then decide what we want to do with it. So it's about facing painful memories that you might have stored in the recesses of your being, hoping that you never have contact with them again. It's about feeling your fear. It's about feeling your anxiety, your stress, and knowing that you are more powerful than they are, and harnessing that power. I said earlier, it's about being courageous enough to look at your shadow self and your higher self. So many of us are willing to look at our shadows, willing to look at the subconscious parts, willing to look at the uglies and the nasties, because we can accept that easier than our own divinity. This is having the courage to look at your higher self as well. This is having the courage to look at what does the very best version of you look like? What does the very best version of you feel like? What is the very best version of you doing with your time, with your energy? It's about looking at that and being courageous enough to step into it. I love using the analogy of a sports person, because sports people understand self-discipline, and they understand knowing that what they want in this life is big enough for them to discipline their bodies, their minds, and their emotions. And I'm not saying that sports people are perfect, by all means, no. They get it wrong in so many areas, but certainly in line of their sport, the people who achieve in their sport achieve because of discipline. And I'm aligning self-love with self-discipline. I have such a passion for goddess energy and the rising of the divine feminine, because our world has collapsed into a state of imbalance. And a big part of this is toxic masculine energy that has been harnessed and used. And I'm so excited about the fact that divine feminine is rising, and that anyone who embodies that feminine energy, which by the way includes men and women all over, there are obviously different nuances, different levels within every one of us, but we all have male and female energy. And allowing the divine feminine to rise allows divine masculine to show up, allows healthy, sacred masculine. It allows, and that's where discipline comes in. That's where healthy discipline comes in. So, yes, spa days are divine. Massages, manicures, pedicures. Self-care is so important. It's so delicious. But what if you just spent your days in self-care? What would you achieve? How would you add value to the planet? How would you add value to the relationships that you're in? How would you add value to any of the people in your life? To organizations that you're part of? What difference would you make? So if you spent your life pampering yourself, if you spent your life in self-care, what would you get to say for yourself at the end of that life? What would you get to say about the life you've lived? What would your legacy be? I'll tell you what it would be. And unfortunately, social media is full of this. It would be the story of a narcissist, just another narcissist. Because there are levels of narcissism, and self-obsession is narcissism, and it's damaging. So let self-care rather be an extension of, a result of, authentic self-love, rather than the primary objective. And don't call constant and consistent and never-ending self-care self-love, because they're not the same. And please, let me just say this again, and I'll say it again and again. I am not dissing self-care. I am big into self-care. It is, however, a result of self-love. So it's about being disciplined enough, being courageous enough, being committed enough to taking the time to dig in, to get to know who you are, what triggers you, to understand those feelings. So what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And for both of those, when it feels good or it doesn't feel good, what is your physical body trying to tell you in that case, or your emotions, or your mind? doesn't feel good. That's a message. What is my body trying to tell me? Because sure, I use the example of a young mind, so a child, for example, trying to get them into eating more fiber, more green veg, and less sugar, right? If they've been given sugar at a young age, it's not going to taste the same to them because if they've had sugar, sugar's like heroin, it's a drug, and the taste buds will convince them that the leafy greens just don't feel good. That fibrous green earthy experience in their mouth doesn't feel good. So this is what sacred self-love is about. This is what I teach. It's about pulling away from that sensation, because taste is just a sensation. It's a sense that we've been given in order to give us messages. So there's a message. Pulling away from that, owning the physical aspect of that, and saying, okay, I know what I want, and I've made the decision that I want the leafy greens and I want the fiber. My mouth is giving me a message based on conditioning. I'm going to choose my decision for myself, which is based in love, because I want my health and I want my vitality. I'm going to choose that decision over the sense. Thank you, senses. I'll work with you on this. We'll get to enjoy the greens better than the sugar, which is where I've come to, which is amazing in my life. It's incredible. There's such freedom here. Side note, and I'm back. So that's an example of it. You can have the same type of examples in your thinking, where thoughts come up, and there's an alert. There's an alert reaction to something like, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. It can be a beautiful thing. It can be love, where your subconscious mind throws up an alert. This is dangerous because of a previous experience. That means if you really love yourself and you want everything that life has to offer, you want love, happiness, success, it's time to dig into your subconscious. See where that alert came from. Thank your mind for it. Thank you very much. That's a great alert. Thank you for the warning. Let's see where it came from. Is falling in love dangerous to me? Really? Or did I just have one really bad experience, or even a few bad experiences? But I've still had enough examples of love around me to know that it's something that I want. So then you work with your thoughts in that case. So you're disciplining your thoughts. You're loving yourself enough to discipline your thoughts. Discipline your body, discipline your thoughts, discipline your emotions. The same thing when fear rises up. You could just back down and walk away. But what if that thing is really, really, really worth it? One of the things I use, and I stole this from Tony Robbins, thank you, Tony Robbins, is actually, I don't know if it was Tony Robbins or Master Code, now that I think about it, but it was to do with a Tony Robbins event. And it was about imagining, well, he said imagine someone behind a barbed wire fence on the other side of a swamp where there was, I'm realizing it was one of his trainers. Anyway, on the other side of a swamp, which was infested with crocodiles, on a little island, in a little house, and the house is burning down. Imagine your child in there. You'll find a way to get over the barbed wire fence, to get through evade the crocodile. You'll find a way to get into that burning house and save that child, because it's your child. You love them enough. Well, the same applies to sacred self-love. It's about loving yourself enough to getting right in there into the depths of who you are, the depths and the heights of who you are. Taking all the chances you can. It's beyond self-care. Self-care will come out of it, but it's getting into all of that. It's getting to know your soul, getting to know that part of you that governs all the other parts, that part of you that has the power to make decisions. As I said in the beginning, your free will, the part of you that owns the free will to decide. And it's only with a decision that you can practice self-discipline, and it's only if you love yourself enough that discipline even comes into play. So that's what I mean when I say that self-love is not a spa day. It is so much more, and it is so much more value. Think about the last time you were at a spa day. If you like a spa day, I know some people don't. My mom doesn't like them at all. So in her case, it would be a lunch out at her favorite Mexican cantina with her girlfriends. Okay, so picture the last time you practiced some form of self-care, some form of me time that really, really works for you, that makes you just feel full on every level. Picture that and then multiply it by 1,000,000, because that is what sacred self-love will bring you. Getting to know yourself on a deeper level, getting to understand your shadow self, getting to understand your unconscious, getting to understand your higher self, getting to understand your own connection to source energy, getting to understand your energy on every level. This is sacred self-love. And this is what I mean. If you want to know more, you know where to find me. Here on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Diana Grant, Sacred Self-Love Coach. Seek me out. I would love to work with you. Everyone that works with me gets to know themselves in a way that they've never known themselves before. They get to peel away all the layers of their onion and to realize that the layers are never ending and that it's just pure delight on every level, even when it might seem difficult at first. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it. Your time is valuable. And I am so happy to be here and share this lunch break with you. I hope that something of what I said resonated with you. And as I said, if you want to know more, reach out to me. There are other videos on this channel as well. Please do subscribe, like, and share if you feel that somebody else could benefit from this. I will be here live at 1 p.m. for Self-Love Lunch Break every Tuesday and Thursday from now on going forward. So I will see you again in about 48 hours' time. Um, in addition to that, I have Tuesday night sacred sessions, which is the path to love, happiness, and success. And that is a beautiful session where we really take a deep dive. And it's quick. It's 90 minutes, which feels like 9 minutes and eternity all rolled into one. It's super powerful. It's energizing. You will leave feeling like you have literally touched eternity, touched the light. It is a really, really beautiful, beautiful session. I channel a big part of it, which is amazing. So everyone who's there has their own personal experience, and the personal experience is with themselves. And that's the beauty of it. So I do hope you can join me. That's 7 p.m. UK time, Tuesday evenings, and it runs till it's between 60 and 90 minutes. So it's not set in stone because we work with energy. And so, yeah, it runs between 60 and 90 minutes. And I really, really look forward to seeing you there. So I do hope you can join me. The link is, well, I'll put the link below this video. It's on Eventbrite if you're looking for it. The path to love, happiness, and success. I will see you later. If not, I will see you on Thursday. Lots of love. Keep loving yourself. You're worth